Hi, everyone. Welcome to this event on behalf of Centinela Youth Services. I've been asked to say a few words of greetings to you and wish all of you a wonderful, happy holiday season and hopefully a very happy new year. COVID-19 free, we hope. Um, what I would like to do is to start just by telling you a little bit about how CYS happened. It was really the dream of a couple of young women who, Marcia Haber was probably the principal initiator, and the three of us worked together to get this organization started in Englewood, to design it from scratch, to bring in the people who would help make it happen, and to help the organization create relationships within the community that would bring interested people to the doorstep, and also some funding and groups of mediators who were interested in practicing. CYS has been around now for many, many years and has really touched thousands of lives. And what I would like to suggest is that every single mediation that we do, every single life that we touch, ripples outwards and touches others. So the true measure of the effectiveness of an organization like CYS isn't just in the numbers. It's a multiplier effect that reaches many, many people and sometimes has an impact way beneath the level of conscious attention. And it can't be measured just in terms of the numbers of cases that have been resolved, because sometimes, as we all know, a case will not resolve, and yet someone will remember something that we said to them, some experience they had, some little awareness that they don't have to be stuck in conflicts like this will stay with them. And so in this period of pandemic and really a series of global crises, a social crisis that concerns racism and the police that impacts all of us, a economic crisis that we are all facing in our communities as a result of the decline in our economy as a result of COVID, a political crisis that we have all now lived through and are continuing to live through. In addition to those three, there is the pandemic, of course, a healthcare crisis, which concerns also the availability of healthcare to all of the people who need it most. And there is an environmental and ecological crisis that has not really hit its deepest level yet. And on top of all of these, we can see that every one of these crises is made more difficult and harder to resolve as a result of conflict. So the politicization of healthcare, of the environment, of all of these various issues, and the introduction of adversarial conflict becomes an obstacle in our lives to living better lives, to solving our problems, even to feeding ourselves and making sure that we have someplace to live. So conflict resolution is really an essential skill in navigating all of the conflicts that we are facing in our country, in our community, around the world. One of the pieces that I think is really important for us in this holiday season is to acknowledge that this is a period in which we want to connect with the people that we care about, to express ourselves in terms of our caring for one another. And so what we want to look at are the ways in which we can, as mediators, build more heartfelt communications and strengthen those communications between people, especially in this holiday season. We know that people are going to be getting together for holiday celebrations with people that they disagree with politically, even with people who are on they feel are on opposite sides of the political divide. And so we want to think about is what are the various things that we might be able to do that could help people in this circumstance and also can help them in other circumstances where they are in other kinds of conflict. And one of the things that we want to, I think, recognize is that there are certain words that divide us and other words that unite us. So a very easy word that I would suggest will instantly divide people in families and communities on all of these various issues is the word Trump. If you just mention this word, what will happen is that people will begin to divide from one another. They will immediately have opinions about one another. They will know exactly what this word means, even though it means entirely different things to different people. So that's a good example of a word that divides. But it is also possible to find words that unite. And here what we want to do is we want to look for ways of drawing people into conversation, into communication, into joint problem solving, collaborative forms of negotiation, and conflict resolution when those don't succeed. And so our goal really is to draw people together. And then what we want to do is we want to figure out how do we have conversations about these issues that don't divide us. Well, one very simple thing that we can do is we can ask people on every level, in couples, in communities, in organizations, in workplaces, and in families, and even politically, to identify the words that divide them from one another. What are those words? Can we list them? Even in couples, you will find that there are words that divide them. Words that surround the use of money, or being on time, or cleanliness, or any number of different issues that that we can divide from one another on. But if we can figure out words that unite us and ask questions that elicit those words, we can then create a context for our differences that is not antagonistic, but it allows us to actually use those techniques of joint problem solving and collaborative negotiation that I mentioned before. So here are a couple of exercises in your family of origin, the ones that you're going to be meeting with over the holidays. Instead of asking, what candidate did you support, you can ask the question, what values or principles do you believe that the candidate that you supported, without mentioning the name of that candidate, stood for? And how could we use those values or principles to guide us in this conversation we're having right now? And what are the words that divide us? And what are the words that unite us? And what are the emotions that are triggered inside of us when we use any of those words? And what kind of relationship would we like to have with each other? What words would we use to describe the kind of relationship we want to have with each other? In preparation for this, I sent to Patrick and also to Aida a copy of a set of questions that we can ask to initiate heartfelt conversations. Questions like, before we even start this conversation, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, about who you are, about your background, about what's important to you in life, what you care about, what are the things that you value, what's important to you. Those kinds of questions allow people to feel that there is room within the conversation for them. Questions like, what kind of relationship would you like to have with me? Or, here's my favorite in families. What words would you use to describe the kind of family you most want to have? And every one of those words will indicate several things to you. Let's say, for example, somebody says, I want a family that is caring. I want a family that is honest. I want a family that's respectful. Well, the one who said, I want a family that's caring, feels uncared for. The one who wants a family that's respectful feels disrespected. And so we learn a little bit about what the issues are, and we also learn some of the things that we could do in response to that person that could help us create a greater sense of unity, that would initiate the possibility, open the possibility of collaboration and joint problem solving and conflict resolution. So, here's what I'd like to suggest. Treat this holiday season as an opportunity to practice your skills in drawing people together into the same conversation. And this doesn't have to be mediation with a capital M. It can just be, here's one thing that I really admire and respect about you. Here's something I would like to acknowledge you for that I really appreciate about you. And if there's something that you admire or appreciate about me, I'd really like to know that. What life experiences have you had that have led you to feel so deeply and so passionately about these issues? Why do you care so much about them? Why do they matter so much to you? What's happened in your life that has led you to feel that this is so important? Or even, here's something that I would like to apologize to you for, something that I wish that I had said to you before. So when people die as a result of COVID or any other reason, we often feel that we wish that we had appreciated them a little bit more while they were alive, that we had expressed our appreciation directly to them. Now's your chance. So over this holiday season, I'd like you to take CYS home with you. And then when you return, bring a little bit of home back to CYS and bring it into your mediation practice. Treat everybody as extended family, because that's what we are. We are all family to one another, and we need to treat each other that way. So I want to just end this by wishing you a very happy holidays, and also looking forward to a new year in which hopefully we will try to do the best that we can to repair some of the damage that we have experienced over the last few years. So here's wishing you well, and wishing you wonderful, challenging, exciting, and transformational conflicts. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.